Do you know what happens June 1st until November 30th? It's hurricane season. A few years ago, my mentor had work in the panhandle of Florida. That installation was decimated when a Category 4 came through. She had one employee there who lost everything. It just was so devastating. While the employee had to relocate to rebuild her life, the installation, they were closed. And so my mentor was in a situation where she had an employee who no longer had an income because the client, they were focused on rebuilding. And while she adored that employee, there were no other opportunities in her company for her skill set because she was connected to a body of work at that federal agency. So she had to let her go. So today's video for all my GovCon winners, all my entrepreneurs out there, is to help you so you can avoid a lot of these pitfalls during hurricane season. Regardless if you have a company based in any of the areas in the United States that are typically targets of hurricanes, if you have a client in one of those areas, maybe you're traveling through or to one of those areas, please watch this video because I have some great tips so you can avoid that situation and avoid that heartbreak so you are prepared. So I'm going to go over my 3 P's with you all today. The first one, the biggest one, is you must plan. When I say plan, I mean if you have any clients in the areas that are typically hit by hurricanes, Texas, Florida, New York, any state that borders any type of ocean, please contact them and just ask. I'm just curious, what have you done in the past during hurricane season? Have you ever been hit by a hurricane? What has happened? Do you have policies in place for contractors? You must ask them questions. You have to plan, and planning involves you have to ask questions because you don't want to be in that situation that I just described. Super, super important. Also, part of this planning is just be aware of the weather. However you want to set it up. If you want to put some kind of alert on your phone, if you want to, subscribe to some weather service, check out weather.com, please do so. The last thing you want to do is find out when the storm is approaching or when it's way too late. So you also need just to be aware of the weather. The next is you must have some type of policy. With my flagship company, a storm came through Orlando, and one of my team members at the time, she worked virtually. Well, the storm took out her electricity, her Wi-Fi. She could no longer work virtually. And not everyone can afford to stay in a hotel or want to stay in a hotel. Not everyone wants to go and relocate to another city or another state. That's not always an option. So it's key to have a policy because this team member wasn't able to do any work. They couldn't. There were some things that they could do, but their focus is where your focus should be. Your family, on your health, your well-being, making sure you have water, making sure that you are safe, making sure that you're in a place where you're comfortable and you're just in a safe place. So having a policy is vital. So I'm going to share my screen and show you an actual policy that we have with my flagship company. This policy is pretty big picture. I want to really emphasize that. And the reason for it is because my flagship company has team members all over the United States, as well as we have team members who travel all of the time. One of the travel line items for a contract that my flagship company has is $800,000 just for travel. So people are traveling all the time. So first and foremost, planning, right? This speaks to the importance of planning because what tends to happen is when you wait last minute, you're unable to get a lot of these supplies. It's super stressful. The prices are super high. It's a nightmare. I personally went through 2 hurricanes in Central Florida, and I've never forgotten those experiences. It was just horrible. We also provide a couple links for them to go to, as well as here's our actual generic policy. The reason that we list the second item there to contact HR, because my team knows that they have all of the authority needed to help out a team member with housing, that we're going to cover their pay while they're out. The priority is to make sure they're taken care of. And my flagship company, the tagline is about making lives easier. And the same relates to my team. It's super, super important to do this. I think back to when I was an employee and I worked at a call center in Melbourne, Florida, and a hurricane was coming. And we were tasked with putting trash bags on computers. Wasn't my idea. And they said, we value you all so much that we are going to pay you regardless of the amount of days in which we are closed, depending on what happens with the hurricane. And I thought, wow, that's just the right thing to do. And I wanted to be that and do that. And that's why we have the generic policy there and the specifics for someone who may really have a financial need. Also, you just want to make sure that you are super prepared, that you as the business owner, you have all of the different insurances that you need. For instance, if you're in construction and you're working on a project in North Carolina and a hurricane is coming, do you have everything that you need? Who knows? So make sure that you have all the insurance, you have every single type of resource that you may need, whether it's different types of chargers, if you have a backup phone, maybe a backup computer, you have a mobile hotspot, you have something in place so that if a storm comes, you're not like, oh, I don't know what to do. You will know what to do because you're watching this video and you're a GovCon winner and you are going to make it through. You're going to make it through safely. That is so vital. Also, as someone who's gone through this, be very careful if you decide to travel. You think, well, I have some team members in Florida, so I'm just going to have them relocate to Georgia. Well, the storms go up. So just be careful, because that's happened to so many people where they go to a different city and sure enough, the storm hits there too. So that's why planning, policy, and preparedness are so vital, because the health and wealth of every single one of your team members is what makes everything possible at the end of the day, as well as your government client. You want to make sure they're prepared too. Just ask them. Back to the planning, is you want to ask them some of these kind of tough questions, and you can just be blunt with them. Like, I just want to make sure we're prepared. That's all I want to do. So it's important to do this. So my glorious GovCon winner, thank you all so much. You're amazing. Check out profitablecontracts.co if you haven't already. Please subscribe, hit that notification button, comment below, and I'm so excited for you all. I'm signing off, and don't forget, everything is possible.